Hi everyone and welcome. You are watching Eagle News. I am Eliza Gonzalez Manglikmot in Washington. It is Saturday, January 22 here in the nation's capital. This week's stories. The White House releases the Biden-Harris administration's first-year fact sheet. More than 100 millionaires make an unusual plea. They are asking governments to tax them now. Older 3G phones will stop operating this year. The Consumer Electronics Show returns to Las Vegas despite a surge in Omicron cases. Los Angeles struggles with Omicron cases and now it's tightening its health and safety measures. Canada authorizes the use of a COVID-19 at-home antiviral pill for adults with mild to moderate symptoms. On this week's Correspondent at Large, 1 in 4 Canadians say penalize those who refuse the COVID vaccine. Hong Kong to euthanize 2,000 hamsters after a COVID outbreak. U.S. telecom giants pause 5G around airports. A landslide destroying an 18th century mansion in Brazil. Plus, the no-vax passport policy, no entry at an Alberta eatery has others show a photo of their dog instead. Several stories on Oceania at a glance. Australia ramps up its health and safety measures for a COVID-free summer. And candidates running for office for the Filipino Association of PNG gear up for elections. On Mind Your Business, Microsoft acquires Activision Blizzard in a $75 billion deal. On Embassy Files, the Embassy of Japan co-presents the virtual screening of the movie Cafe Faniculi Funicola in a winter film festival. On Color My World, a restaurateur fulfills his dream of bringing Korean barbecue to Corpus Christi, Texas. On EBC Sports International, NASCAR tours high school students for a look into the construction of the racetrack inside the LA Coliseum. Our coverage begins now. January 20 marked the first year in office of President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. The White House releases Year One's fact sheet itemizing the Biden-Harris administration's record firsts. In Biden's first year, more than 6 million jobs were created. The unemployment rate dropped from 6.2% to 3.9%. Kamala Harris became the first female and person of color to hold the VP position. Biden appointed the first woman Treasury Secretary, the first Native American cabinet member, the first woman director of national intelligence, and the first majority non-white cabinet in American history. Over 200 million Americans became fully vaccinated against COVID-19. The administration passed a $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure law and the American Rescue Plan. The Biden presidency, however, did not go without any challenges. U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan, inflation, Omicron, failures to pass the Build Back Better Act, and voting reforms, and low approval ratings have plagued the Biden administration. In other news, who would have thought millionaires pleading to pay more in taxes? The plea comes on the heels of a report by global charity Oxfam that finds the world's 10 wealthiest have doubled their fortunes to $1.5 trillion during the first 2 years of the COVID-19 pandemic. Mayan Manzano Gurzon reports.
More than 100 millionaires made an unusual plea on Wednesday, tax us now. Their appeal came as a study backed by wealthy individuals and nonprofits found that a wealth tax on the world's richest people could raise $2.52 trillion per year, enough to pay for COVID vaccines for everyone and pull 2.3 billion people out of poverty. In an open letter to the World Economic Forum's online Davos meeting, 102 millionaires, including Disney heiress Abigail Disney, said that the current tax system is unfair and deliberately designed to make the rich richer. The letter also said that the world, every country in it, must demand the rich pay for their fair share. Tax us the rich and tax us now. Their plea follows a report by global charity Oxfam this week, which said that the world's 10 wealthiest men doubled their fortunes to $1.5 trillion during the first 2 years of the pandemic, while inequality and poverty soared. The signatories include wealthy men and women from the United States, Canada, Germany, Britain, Denmark, Norway, Austria, the Netherlands, and Iran. The patriotic millionaires took part in a wealth tax study with a network of nonprofits and social movements, including Fight for Inequality Alliance, Oxfam, and the US-based Institute for Policy Studies think tank. In addition to funding vaccines worldwide and alleviating poverty, the tax would be enough to provide universal health care and social protection to 3.6 billion people in low and middle income countries. The tax would be set at 2% for those worth over $5 billion, 3% for over $50 million, and 5% for over $1 billion. Patriotic Millionaires Chairman Maurice Pearl emphasized the need for deep systemic change, starting with taxing the rich people like him. He said that there is no defending a system that endlessly inflates the wealth of the world's richest people while condemning billions to easily preventable poverty. Mayan Manzano Garzon, Eagle News, Pennsylvania.
Thanks, Mayan. Users of 3G mobile devices will soon not be able to use them any longer, as the country's major carriers will discontinue their 3G services. Now, if you are a 3G device user, what are your options going forward? Myla Simbulan reports.
Thank you. The nation's three major wireless carriers, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile, have announced plans to shut down their 3G networks to accommodate more advanced services, including 5G, as early as February of this year. As a result, many older phones will be unable to make or receive calls and text messages or use data services. This may also affect other devices that rely on 3G connectivity, such as medical alert devices, tablets, smartwatches, home security systems, and in-vehicle safety, security, and roadside assistance systems. Most users of these services will be notified directly by the carriers if this discontinuation affects them. However, users of older phones that are used only for 911 connectivity may not receive the notification if they do not have active service with the carrier. Organizations that serve individuals experiencing homelessness or survivors of domestic violence sometimes provide clients with older phones without a service plan for making emergency calls. Users of these types of 911-only phones should check with the organization that provided the phone about their options. Low-income individuals concerned that their 911-only phones will no longer be supported should consider applying for service through the Federal Communications Commission's Lifeline program. Information about eligibility, participating providers, and the application process can be found at www.lifelinesupport.org. The 3G network has been active since 2001, one of multiple network improvements for cellular service introduced since 1979, which is 1G. So it's almost been 20 years. This is Myla Simbulan, Eagle News, Swarthmore, Pennsylvania.
Thanks, Myla. From 3G technology, let's move forward to the latest in consumer electronics. Las Vegas Bureau Chief Anna Cui takes us to the Consumer Electronics Show 2022 as our team there checks out how the annual tech trade show is doing despite another surge in COVID cases. Take a look.
Attendees gets a glimpse of what's coming up in the metaverse world, space travel, and much more here at CES 2022, despite yet another COVID surge.
CES, one of the largest tech trade shows, returns to Las Vegas this year after being held online only last year due to the pandemic. The surge of COVID-19 cases fueled by the Omicron variant is evident on the show floors as some big names decided to cancel their attendance. Organizers ensure their mask and proof of vaccination requirements are sufficient safety protocols, and the show had to go on for the thousands of tech enthusiasts, entrepreneurs, and media. With the expected number of exhibitors down more than half to about 2,200 compared to 4,500 in 2020, CES ends one day earlier, Friday.
There's definitely been fewer people, which has actually made me feel safer from a COVID perspective. And we've just made very clear with our team that it's important that everyone takes their health first, follows all the CDC guidelines and the show guidelines to stay safe.
We're hopeful that as not just a country, but as a planet, as more of us are able to get vaccinated and protect ourselves against, future strains and everything else, that we will get back to regular, whatever that might be in the future.
Whatever that new normal may be will include metaverse, which some refer to as the next internet, and is one of the buzzwords here at CES 2022.
Metaverse is evolution of platform. Until now we use 2D screen for making platform, but metaverse is usually we use 3D environment. So in this time we showed up our demo version about budget store and budget concept. We focus on to make realistic visual, because in the 3D world, when users do shopping, they need full information. In 3D world, full information means detailed graphic.
Metaverse is said to also be in the making among the gaming sector, with the increasing interoperability of games across multiple platforms using AR and VR technology. Working, playing, or simply living in space may sound like something we can only experience in the metaverse world, but that concept may soon be a reality. Sierra Space is a first-time exhibitor in the new space tech category at CES 2022, showcasing their life-size model, Dream Chaser space plane.
The Dream Chaser space plane is this vehicle is the DC-100, which is a cargo version of the Dream Chaser. It's scheduled to fly in January 2023 on its first mission of 7 to the International Space Station. Sure, we're excited about our partnership with Blue Origin. We're partnering on a commercial space station that we call the Orbital Reef. And our vision for Orbital Reef is this mixed-use business park in space. It's a partnership where we are going to support nations from around the globe and companies from around the globe doing all sorts of research, advanced science, new materials discovery, in-space manufacturing, but also opportunities associated with media, branding, space tourism, and most anything else we might be able to think of. It's one of the reasons we're at CES 22, to learn what the world might want to do in space.
Until we can actually hang out in low Earth orbit, we just have to appreciate the very near future of mobility with electric and self-driving vehicles. Over 200 companies are on site, including first-time exhibitors. Globally, more companies are planning to build more electric vehicles in the future, according to Consumer Tech Association. More than just cars, vehicle tech includes autonomous software, internet connectivity, AI, and advanced driver assistance systems, which are now more common on new vehicles, making it safer for drivers and everything around them. There's so much more innovations in health, wellness, and smart homes, and through these innovations, some companies are making commitments towards sustainability. From making changes in their product development using low power or even recyclable materials to changing how they package their end products, these companies are hoping to make a difference in the environment. While we go through yet another surge of COVID cases, we can count on innovations in modern technology to keep us safe, healthy, and connected.
From CES 2022 here at the Las Vegas Convention Center, Anna Kui, Eagle News.
Thanks, Anna. Now on to COVID news. Like many major cities across the country, Los Angeles faces an uptick in the number of COVID-19 cases due to the Omicron strain. The message of health officials to the public: don't be too comfortable and don't let your guard down. Anre Reo Tutar reports.
People in Los Angeles are being told to go into hermit mode and stay at home as much as possible. With the Omicron variant sweeping across the nation, public health officials in Los Angeles County are taking steps to reduce the spread of the infection. They're telling folks to avoid non-essential travel or activities where crowds of unmasked people gather, which could promote community transmission of COVID-19. The area's healthcare system is struggling to cope with a growing number of cases. Just 3 weeks into the new year, more than 400,000 cases of COVID-19 have been reported in the county. Mega events, which have been newly defined as indoor gatherings with a turnout of more than 500 people, or outdoor events exceeding 5,000 in attendance, are still allowed. However, individuals at these events have to comply with new rules put into place this week. Anyone hosting or attending a large event must show proof of vaccination. Those who aren't vaccinated can either show proof of a negative PCR test taken 2 days prior to the event or a negative COVID antigen test taken within 1 day of the event. Final word of advice to Angelinos from public health officials: mask up, vaccinate, and get boosted. Honorary Tutar, Eagle News, Los Angeles.
Thanks, Henry. In Canada, adults with mild to moderate COVID-19 symptoms now have an option to take at home the antiviral pill recently authorized by health officials there. In Toronto, Joshua Santillana tells us more.
On Monday, this past week, the Government of Canada officially announced its authorization of Paxlovid, Pfizer's COVID-19 antiviral pill, in treating mild to moderate symptoms of the virus in adults within the country. In Canada, Paxlovid is the only antiviral COVID-19 medication that can be taken at home. All previous COVID medications were provided only in healthcare settings, but now, for adults 18 and above, Paxlovid provides a method of treating COVID-19 from home with a prescription. Studies have shown that Paxlovid can reduce risk of severe symptoms leading to hospitalization or death by 89%. Adults who tested positive for the virus through direct viral testing and are exhibiting mild to moderate symptoms will be able to take Paxlovid. The medication consists of 2 tablets, nirmatrelvir and ritonavir, which are administered orally twice daily for 5 days. As of Saturday this past week, Canada has received 30,000 doses of the medication, as the Omicron variant continues to spread and active cases within the country continues to be within the hundreds of thousands. Hospitals and healthcare facilities are at risk of being overwhelmed. Paxlovid offers a solution for treating mild to moderate COVID-19 symptoms at home. However, Canadians are being reminded that Paxlovid is not a substitute for getting vaccinated. Vaccinations continue to be and will remain as the most effective way of preventing COVID-19. In Toronto, Joshua Santillana, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thanks, Joshua. Did you know that a recent survey reveals that 1 in 4 Canadians say those who refuse to get the COVID-19 vaccine must face legal consequences? This story and more from Thomas I. Likeness, our correspondent at large.
How do people in your country feel about folks who refuse to get vaccinated against COVID-19? Well, up here in Canada, there's little tolerance for them. As a matter of fact, more than 1 in 4 Canadians are saying, lock them up. According to a survey done by the Maru Group earlier this month, 27% of those asked say willfully refusing immunization against COVID-19 should result in a 5-day jail sentence. Another 61% say the unvaccinated should either have to pay a healthcare surcharge of up to $150 a month or pay the full cost of their medical care if they're admitted to hospital for COVID-19. More than 3/4 of those asked say the unvaccinated should not be allowed to enter public spaces such as restaurants, theaters, libraries, and various retail outlets. The survey found about half of those polled felt the unvaccinated are responsible for overwhelming the healthcare system. Another 40% believe they're holding people back from having a normal life. Just over 1/3 say the unvaxxed endanger society, and another third think they're misguided conspiracy theorists. 1/4 described unvaccinated people as reckless. And it appears a majority of Canadians are unforgiving when it comes to the unvaxxed. More than half, 54%. Well, they say they do not have sympathy for unvaccinated people who get seriously ill or die from COVID-19. Hamsters, the latest victims of the pandemic in Hong Kong, and that's left pet owners heartbroken. In Hong Kong, the long arms of public health officials have reached out to cull hamsters and other small animals. This after hamsters in a pet store tested positive for COVID-19. Authorities are telling people who bought small pets after December 22nd to give them up to be killed. The cull includes chinchillas, rabbits, guinea pigs, as well as hamsters. The import of small animals has also been halted. Authorities figure at least 2,000 animals will be culled. Pet owners up in arms over this. An online petition has garnered more than 23,000 signatures. One pet owner wondered, and these are her words, will they also kill all infected COVID-19 patients and their close contacts? American telecom giants are putting calls on parts of their 5G cell phone network on hold. That's been prompted by concerns that towers near airports pose a safety hazard. The temporary delay in the launch of parts of the system follows concerns from airlines. They say the network could interfere with radio-controlled altimeters on planes. That's because they operate on the same frequencies as 5G. Some international and domestic carriers have announced flight cancellations to several American destinations. This while things are being sorted out. Now, considering how long this system has been under development, one would have thought that this problem might have been identified in the early stages. The power of moving Earth. What you see on the screen here is a landslide that took place in Brazil. It destroys an 18th century mansion belonging to Ouro Preto City Hall, located in the state of Minas Gerais. You can see the force of the earth that is moving. In just seconds, that building is flattened. Thankfully, no injuries reported. And before I go, let me tell you a story about some restaurant employees who took matters into their own hands. Now, they worked at an eatery in Red Deer, Alberta. That's about an hour and a half south of where I live. To dine in, customers have to show their vaccine passports. Now, these geniuses decided instead to allow people in if they didn't have a passport, as long as they showed a dog picture. The restaurant was temporarily closed after a couple of health inspectors, posing as diners, were allowed in after showing their ID and a picture of their pooch. After agreeing to train employees on the rules, the eatery was allowed to reopen. No word, though, on whether the errant worker is in the doghouse. I'll be back in 7 days. Thomas I. Likeness, correspondent at large, Eagle News.
Thanks, Thomas. Better secure your Vax passport, my friend. Meanwhile, in Australia, health and safety measures are being ramped up as the country battles a surge in COVID cases. Here's Raylene Quinto for Oceania at a glance.
As COVID-19 continues to run rampant around the world, countries such as Australia are finding methods and techniques to ensure the community remains safe, but also have the freedom and opportunity to enjoy a COVID-safe summer. Here are 3 current COVID-19 updates. Case numbers continue to rise in the states of New South Wales, Victoria, Queensland, and South Australia. The only Australian state with low COVID cases is Western Australia. In an effort to maintain this status, it has once again shut its borders to neighbouring states. Western Australia's success has been attributed to strict border rule implemented by its Premier, Mark McGowan. The New South Wales government has mandated the registration of positive rapid antigen results effective January 12. Before the rule, positive rapid antigen at-home results were unreported. A day after the rule was enforced, a shocking spike in COVID cases occurred, with approximately 82,000 residents uploading positive rapid antigen results onto Service New South Wales. A historic moment for the state of Queensland. Its roads are now fully open for Australian travellers to enter the state after almost 2 years of strict border checkpoints and quarantine measures. The state opened its borders on January 15. It allowed interstate domestic travel without the stress of a border pass, a negative PCR or rapid antigen result, and the need to quarantine. International restrictions for travellers, however, will continue until the Sunshine State reaches its target of 90% double-dose vaccination. Health authorities continue to encourage people to take steps to help prevent infection and the spread of COVID-19. One tip is to bring a COVID safety kit along whenever you leave the house. Safe pack essentials may include 2 disposable medical-grade face masks, hand sanitizer, and travel antibacterial wipes. Remember, you can always customize your COVID-19 safety packs to suit the need of your family to ensure their safety and welfare. Keep a kit in your car, your bag, and also one in your workplace, knowing that this safety kit can assist in mitigating the risk of spreading and being exposed to COVID-19. Raylene Quinto, Oceania at a Glance, Eagle News.
Thanks, Raylene. New year, new set of officers for the Filipino Association of Papua New Guinea, or PAPNAG, to make living away from home easier and less lonely for Pinoys there. To tell us about how the community is preparing for the 2022 PAPNAG election, here's Echo Ortalesa Quinola in Port Moresby.
The race for the new set of officers to serve the Filipino Association of Papua New Guinea, or PAPNAG, has officially begun. The candidates are now busy campaigning for the January 30, 2022 elections. Amid a nationwide surge in COVID-19 cases, candidates continue campaigning in person and messaging voters. 3 parties are vying to lead the PAPNAG organization. Running for the presidential position are Roxanne Cruz of Kapit Bisig, Benny Mendoza of PAPNAG Bayanihan, and Arnie Alfajardo of Partido ng Pagbabago. Some incumbent officers are running for another term. Although the candidates might have differing views on the issues, all voters are hoping that the elected officials would cater to the needs of the Filipino community here in Papua New Guinea.
For the candidates, sana po panatilihin po natin yung malinis na eleksyon at maayos na pamamalakad kung sino man po yung mauupo sa ating council. Hopefully, they would be able to spearhead projects that will help the association po to raise funds para po marami pa pong matulungan na Pilipino ang council, at gayon din po para po makapag-raise ng funds for the financials ng PAPNAG. To all our kababayans, especially those who registered po sa PAPNAG as a member, let's use our voices and our rights to vote po, and vote wisely.
According to PAPNAG, the association was formed in 1980 when Filipinos living in Port Moresby realized that by working together, they could overcome much more efficiently all the challenges they would face. Stay tuned to Eagle News for the latest developments in the FAPNAng elections. Echo Hortaleza Quinola o Shania at a glance, Eagle News.
Thank you, Echo. Tech giant Microsoft has recently acquired global video game developer Activision Blizzard for $75 billion, a move that shocked the industry. Bobby Soriano for Mind Your Business.
Hello everyone and welcome to another segment of Mind Your Business, where we are dedicated to discussing the latest news moving the markets and business trends that could be affecting your workplace soon. The video game industry was shaken to its core on Tuesday when global technology company Microsoft announced that it would be acquiring one of the largest video game developers and publishers in the world, Activision Blizzard, in a staggering all-cash deal valued at $75 billion. While the deal caught many in the industry by surprise, it was a logical acquisition for the tech giant. Microsoft is no stranger to gaming, with its own Xbox console series a household name for many gamers. Microsoft has also previously acquired the rights to many well-known video game franchises, like Doom, Minecraft, and Halo. The acquisition of Activision Blizzard will bolster its franchise portfolio with popular games such as the Call of Duty series, the long-lasting MMO World of Warcraft, and esports favorites StarCraft and Overwatch. Meanwhile, Activision Blizzard shareholders enjoyed a 26% increase in the share price immediately after the acquisition announcement. The company's shares have been battered as of late due to a slew of negative press against the company. The Wall Street Journal reported in November accusations of inappropriate workplace behavior fostered by a company culture of misogyny that was overlooked by longtime Activision CEO Bobby Kotick. But despite the bad press and current low morale of employees at Activision Blizzard, it appears that Microsoft sees value in the troubled company. Many gamers still turn to their games for entertainment, with revenue exceeding $2 billion in its most recent financial quarter. The addition of Activision Blizzard's revenue to Microsoft's will make it the third largest gaming company in the world, behind its longtime rival Sony in Japan and top player Tencent Holdings of China. And this strikes at one of the largest growing trends in business as of late: huge behind-the-scenes deal-making that merge companies to compete against a common foe, or to simply get rid of the competitor altogether by acquiring them. We've already seen the effects of M&A in shaking up tech and entertainment. Facebook buying Instagram and WhatsApp, Disney acquiring Marvel Studios. With the acquisition of Activision Blizzard by Microsoft, no one can be absolutely sure how the other major video game companies will respond. But we can be certain Microsoft and its competitors will all be on the lookout for that next big name they can pick up and remain as one of the top players on the business scoreboard. Reporting from New York, for Mind Your Business, this is Bobby Soriano, Eagle News.
Thank you, Bobby. Now it's movie time. How would you relate to a film that has a coffee table transporting the characters back in time to change the not-so-sound things they've done so that their future would be less complicated? Although real life doesn't have coffee tables that work like that, this movie somehow gives an insight on how making choices mold our tomorrows. Here's Bureau Chief Arlene Ocampo for Embassy Files.
The movie Cafe Funiculi Funicula is set for viewing from January 28th through the 31st virtually. This is the last film for this year's Winter Film Festival, co-sponsored by the Embassy of Japan. The movie is based on the novel Before the Coffee Gets Cold, written by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. At the cafe, there is a rumor that if a customer sits at a specific seat, they can travel back in time while drinking their cup of coffee. But there are specific rules to follow in going back to the past. This movie allows for closure and modifying one's future, but not the present. Register at us.emb-japan.go.jp and go to events to receive your link and instructions to watch this fantasy film. The Winter Film Festival is a collaboration between the Japan Information and Culture Center, the Japan Commerce Association of Washington, D.C. Incorporated, and the Embassy of Japan. Stay tuned to Eagle News for more from the nation's capital. Arlene Ocampo, Embassy Files, Eagle News.
Thanks, Arlene. Now, our next story tells of how one man made his dream come true, not by sleeping more, but by studying meticulously, working endless nights, implementing his game plan with the help of equally determined colleagues. Talk about birds of a feather soaring together. Jane Kathleen Gregorio for this week's Color My World.
Until recently, Corpus Christi diners had to drive hundreds of miles to cities like Houston and Dallas to enjoy the Korean barbecue experience of cooking the meat themselves at their table. Now, however, Bo Barbecue Korean Grill and Bar makes its debut in Corpus Christi, giving diners a local place to get their grill on. Though Korea may not be his country of origin, Michael Wynn is passionate about Korean barbecue and for years had dreamed of starting a Korean barbecue restaurant in the Coastal Bend.
I'm original from Southern California. I was basically raised in a lot of Korean, Japanese, and Asian culture. I moved here 6 years ago. The first thing I noticed is that Corpus Christi don't have a Korean barbecue. Korean barbecue is one of my top food to go out and enjoy it with my family, my wife. Again, it's always a dream of mine and my wife to have this business. Again, we do it for our enjoyment and we like to share with the community. And then again, this kind of business, nobody can do it by themselves. You have to have the right partner. You have to have the experience.
Going at it alone, however, was difficult until he met his other co-founders, Tony Fan and New Bo, who each brought their unique set of skills to the table.
I am one of the partner, and I run in the kitchen. Well, my family in this kind of business for many years. And I moved to Corpus Christi within a year, and I met Bo and Michael. It's pretty nice gentlemen, young and wanted really interested in doing business. So we come up with an idea, use my experience in Korean barbecue and grill. So we talk about that and we say, okay, let's do something different in Corpus here.
I am the real estate broker, so I do a lot of traveling. So I've been in many places in California and Houston and Dallas. So I've learned a lot of Asian culture and also in other places that I visited. Corpus Christi, we are close by water. I do see a lot of seafood restaurant here nearby. I do see a lot of fast food restaurant, a Chinese restaurant, but we don't have a place where all family members and friends can gather together to enjoy a dinner or lunch and cooking together. So it's all about the experience. It's all about people spending time together, having a fun time and talking.
Just recently, Bo Barbecue Korean Grill celebrated its grand opening with a ribbon cutting that was attended by public officials such as the mayor of Corpus Christi, the Nueces County judge, and various other dignitaries.
And that is what our community is craving at large. It's something different, something exciting, and something that honestly we have been lacking. And so part of Nueces County's role is to promote business.
We have, if you know anything about our city, we're all about small business, we're all about minority-owned businesses. So we greatly appreciate the investment and for y'all bringing this here at Corpus Christi.
It is really, to me, nice to see individuals that come into our community, which is pretty much getting more diverse as we talk.
Super proud. I'm very excited because I've never seen this notion, and I love it. I know my 16-year-old is going to love it, so we will be back. I will be back to have dinner here or lunch.
Hi, my name is Becky Meyer. I'm the Executive Director of Youth Odyssey. This is my first time to Bo's Korean Barbecue. You got to take the raw meat that came and you put it on this lovely grill that's really hot, so don't touch it. And it was just a really cool experience. They bring you your food and you cook it and then you eat it however you want to. And so it was really tasty. Everything was wonderful. I'm very, very pleased.
Hi, my name's Amanda Juarez, and I just recently moved to Corpus Christi about a week ago. So this is my first time experiencing Korean barbecue. I was actually really excited because this was something that was definitely on my bucket list. It was so fun to connect with people and to bond over the food. You got to share different sides and the entrees, the different meats. So it's a great way to connect and get to know people and to experience a whole different culture.
When the mayor and the judge and the county judge said they love the food, this is what we live for, to able to make dishes. And then someone come up to you and say, we love your food. That's all that matters.
Jane Kathleen Gregorio, Color My World, Eagle News.
Thanks, Kathleen, and congratulations to new restaurateurs Hung Michael Nguyen, Niu Bo, and Tony Pan. Meanwhile, the 2022 season of the NASCAR Cup Series kicks off next month with a clash at the Coliseum exhibition race in Los Angeles. Construction is ongoing and NASCAR welcomes high school students from the Boys and Girls Club of America, Carson, for a tour and look into the build and design process of this world-class racetrack. Our EBC Los Angeles team for EBC Sports International.
On February 6th, the iconic Los Angeles Coliseum will be the site of NASCAR's Cup Series season opening exhibition race, aptly billed as Clash at the Coliseum.
But before any actual clashing takes place, the crew has to finish constructing the track. And despite a busy schedule, NASCAR has invited high school students from the Boys and Girls Club of America, Carson, to learn the ins and outs of building a speedway.
We are partnered with the Boys and Girls Club of Carson here locally in LA, and we wanted to give them an opportunity to come out and see a racetrack being built, a NASCAR racetrack. Earlier in the week, they were able to do it on their educational platform called My Future, where they were able to kind of put together what they think a racetrack will look like and design in the platform. And so now here they're in person, seeing it come to life. You know, high school level kids, they're a little quiet at first, but I think overall we really surprised them. We gave them an opportunity to just think about all the possibilities. So when they come back on February 5th and 6th, they'll actually see it in person.
Today we got hit with a little bit of weather, but it didn't deter anybody. Everybody, kind of got out there, took a walk around. But yeah, no, it's been great being here. So we had a group of great kids come out to the track to take a look around and kind of learn about the track build process, kind of what it took to go from the pre-planning stages through the design effort and kind of what we wound up building out here. So it's kind of I believe it's part of the STEM program and whatnot. So it's all about kind of the nuts and bolts and how it all kind of came together, how it kind of works and why it works. So it was a really good tour. This first time here at the Coliseum, great venue, awesome to be here. Excited to build the track here. So I think it was great, great to hear that we were doing it. It was exciting to hear it.
We are excited for the entertainment, the celebrities. Pitbull, dale! We love Pitbull. He's gonna really give us an exciting show. So yes, when you come out, make sure you get here early because he's gonna give us a 20-minute performance and it's gonna be so amazing. The kids loved Pitbull. They love hearing that, this guy who is Mr. Worldwide is gonna actually show up and show out. And we love having him part of the NASCAR family. He's also a co-owner of Trackhouse Racing. So we make sure you check out him and his team and his driver, Daniel Suarez. It's just going to be exciting.
The utilization of science, technology, engineering, and math were obviously at play here at the Coliseum.
So from a STEM standpoint, having high school students tour this construction site yields practical benefits.
And from a field trip standpoint, this one was funner and also a bit more rainy than most.
In Los Angeles, California, Evan Allen, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Thanks, Alan and Eva. Happy 6th birthday to Eagle News friend Elijah Z. Taroja. Happy birthday to Eagle News correspondent Heather Acuesta. And congratulations to new parents, one of our Eagle News anchors EJ and his wife Chris, for they now have baby boy Grayson Lucas Samili Gonzalez. Welcome to the very rewarding world of parenting. Thank you all for watching. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Eagle News Live. I am Eliza Gonzalez Manglikmot. Happy weekend, everyone.